Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker. Thank you so much for joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. You know, one of those things that we don't always necessarily appreciate are those people working hard to take care of us, those who are always out serving and making sure that they're keeping us safe. One of those people is Trooper Ross Brennan over with Troop C, the Public Information Officer. Ross, welcome back to the program.
Oh, I'm glad to be here again.
We appreciate it. You know, it's really interesting. You know, one of those things I always like to ask you to tell us a little bit about are some of the things that are unique for you guys. I want to tell you about one of the troopers that I saw just today on my routing in my job. I saw a trooper not only coordinating somebody who was kind of stopped on the side of the road, but he was actually helping to change the tire for a gentleman who was on the side of the road with his family. And it's just one of those things where you guys go above and beyond all the time to really take care of us and keep us safe. And it's just one of the ways that we need to say thank you for all of the hard work that you and your team does in keeping our community safe.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, in addition to typically when people think of state police, they're thinking we're either maybe writing a ticket or working a crash or arresting a impaired driver or something like that. But we also do a lot of different other things. Whether it's changing a tire on the side of the road, there's times I help put gas in people's car, giving somebody directions that might have been lost. I mean, a lot of times, you know, we do things that are different what's typically normal thinking that a police officer does. But, you know, anything that we can do to help serve the public, you know, in any different capacity, that's what we try to do.
Yeah, and speaking of that, all of the education you do with child safety and with the child safety seats and making sure that we're keeping children safe as well, the education that y'all provide, and even out today what you guys were doing and helping make sure that the 10th graders understand what it's like to make sure that they drive safely and really drive that home early on. A lot of those things, I don't think people realize that y'all spend so much time doing.
Yes, so like if we can start young with these early drivers coming on, like I said earlier, it helps build those building blocks for a better future, a better driving future. They help alleviate some of these tragedies. Last year with COVID, we weren't allowed to have the program's called Sudden Impact. What we do is we go into the schools, we talk to the juniors, the sophomores, and the seniors. We talk to them about the dangers of impaired driving, driving distracted, not wearing a seatbelt. Unfortunately, with COVID last year, we weren't able to go into the schools like we wanted to. And looking at our crash data, our numbers significantly increased the amount of teenagers that were seriously injured or killed in car vehicle crashes just by not having that 1 year classes. So it's definitely going into these schools is really making life-changing differences amongst the young driver community.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's the dramatic result of something you're not able to do. So very glad that you're back in the schools doing that. Now, speaking of some of the things that we're trying to do to build on those, like you said, building blocks, is making sure that we are careful about holiday safety. I know with Labor Day coming up, we'll talk a little bit about some of the patrols that y'all do that's in addition to what you normally do and the preparation that we have for the holiday.
Yeah. So Labor Day typically is a large party weekend in South Louisiana. I know everybody likes to have a good time. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a way to do it properly. You know, if you go off to the crawfish boil or whatever for the weekend and you do plan to have a few drinks, try to have a designated driver home before you even go to the event. You know, whenever you're leaving the event, it's not the time to try to find the most sober person out the group to drive home. That's dangerous. That's not going to work out. Before you even leave to go, try to have a game plan. Try to have an idea of who's going to be able to bring you home. A lot of times, this time of the year, it's our drive sober or get pulled over campaign. What that means is we're going to have additional troopers on the roadway, not just state police. There's also going to be additional deputies on the road. There's going to be additional police officers on the road, and they're going to be federally funded. What they're out there is their extra patrols. They're out there looking specifically for impaired drivers at all times during the day. A lot of times people think that impaired drivers are at early night, you know, early morning or late at night. Impaired drivers are on the road at all times, whether they're impaired off of alcohol or impaired off prescription pills. You know, a lot of times people think just because they have a prescription, they're allowed to take it. But if you read the side of some of the medicine bottles, it says do not operate heavy machinery while using. Heavy machinery is not just a forklift or a thing like that. Heavy machinery is also a vehicle. Whatever causes you to drive differently or feel differently, you could be arrested for being impaired. So over the Labor Day weekend, we are going to have more people out on the roadway, more patrols, and we are going to be out there trying to keep the roadway safe and keep your families and stuff protected from these people who do make these poor decisions by driving impaired on the roadway.
Yeah, and you make a really good point talking about families. You know, if we're going to spend more family time and you've got a family event planned, the whole family needs to know the plan. Talk about the importance of having that discussion with your family.
Yeah. Look, if you're a parent of a young one, maybe a teen driver, they might not have been through the sudden impact course yet. Just talk to them about the dangers of driving impaired. A lot of times these crashes, it doesn't just affect that one person; it affects multiple people. Unfortunately, a lot of times with these crashes, if it's a severe crash, it doesn't just affect the one family, but also the family of the victims. They might have severe loss of functionality in their limbs or different things like that from different surgeries or traumas, or they might even lose their life. One of the worst things about this job is going knock on the family's door and tell them that their loved one, whether their son, their daughter, their mother, their father, got killed tragically in a car crash, basically because somebody decided to make a decision. All crashes are preventable. A lot of times people think that crash is an accident. A crash is not an accident. Basically, somebody did something that they weren't supposed to do, which caused that situation to happen. So if you're a parent, talk to your children about the dangers of driving impaired. Have a plan. Have somebody be able to pick them up, whether it's you as a parent or a family or a guardian. Have somebody who's sober to come pick them up. That way we make sure that all these people get home safe. We're also addition of patrolling on the roadway. We're also looking for dangerous drivers on the road, reckless drivers. I know a lot of people are going to be going back and forth from different events, especially all this COVID and stuff. We're kind of looking for a break. Do everything safely, slow them speeds down, give you enough time to go to these different places. Don't drive above the speed limit. Don't drive above your training. Make those good decisions behind the wheel.
Perfect. We appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much, Trooper. Have a safe holiday and good luck through the storm.
You too. Thank you.
Again, we appreciate Trooper Ross Brennan there with Troop C. All right, we're going to take another short break. Don't go anywhere. More Bayou time when we continue.